This is the Steelseries Apex Pro Wireless TKL Gen 3. Now normally I would ask, is said product worth it? I've been using it for about a week now, and let me tell you that it is definitely worth it. Now let me show you why. But before we go any further, I do want to let you know that I was sent this keyboard by Steelseries, but I'm not being paid, and all of my opinions are mine and mine only. Starting off with the unboxing experience. After taking off the cardboard sleeve, you'll first see the keyboard itself on the top wrapped in plastic. But for now, we're going to set that off to the side. Sitting under the keyboard is the manual, and sitting in the boxes behind the keyboard are this about 3 to 4 foot USB to USB-C cable, or if you want to use this thing wired, which you have the option to. And next to that cable is the USB-C dongle and a USB-C adapter. And the last thing you'll see at the bottom of the box is the magnetic wrist rest for the keyboard. You won't be seeing me use this in the video at all because for some reason I like the hand position without it. For a lot of people, it would definitely make the keyboard experience way more comfortable though. So now that all the unboxing is out of the way, let's get to the actual keyboard. When looking at the Apex Pro Gen 3, the first thing you'll probably notice is the new and improved OLED screen, which we'll fully go over later in the video. To the right of the screen, there's a dial which you can use to change the volume of your PC, as well as go through the options on the screen. And below that dial is the media button, which you can use to pause or unpause your media, as well as be used as a back button for the screen. Now the case of the Apex Pro is actually really nice, lightly textured, pretty strong plastic. As well as that, the top plate on this thing is made from aircraft grade aluminum alloy, making the structural integrity of the Apex Pro something you will not have to worry about. The metal top plate also has a part to play with the weight of the entire keyboard, coming in at just above 2 pounds. Going to the back of the keyboard, you'll see that there's a gray Steelseries logo, as well as a USB-C port, which can be used for charging the keyboard or using it wired. There's also a switch which allows you to change between the Bluetooth mode and the 2.4 GHz mode, as well as just turning the keyboard off. Flipping the keyboard over, you'll also see that there's another Steelseries logo, this time embossed on the bottom of the keyboard, as well as 6 pretty strong rubber feet. Although the keyboard is really heavy, so I don't think you'll have to worry about the keyboard moving around at all. There's also these 2-in-1 feet, which allow you to either use the keyboard flat, as well as half angled and fully angled, depending on what you find comfortable. Now when it comes to switches, the entire Apex Pro Gen 3 lineup comes with SteelSeries' most technically advanced switches called the Hall Effect Magnetic Switch. The switches themselves were made with noise reduction in mind, as well as being individually lubricated, making the sound of these things really nice and the feel of them really nice. The Hall Effect switches are rated for about 100 million key presses each, and can go as low as a 0.1mm actuation point, making them about 10 times faster than the traditional mechanical switch. The Apex Pro Gen 3 lineup also has improved stabilizers, which makes the larger keys such as the spacebar have less wobble, as well as having improved lubrication, which reduces the rattle. The keycaps on the Gen 3 version are also made from an improved double shot PBT material, making them fade proof and super durable. And personally, from my time using the keyboard, I can't deny how comfortable the keycaps are. Compounded off of everything I just mentioned, inside of the case are 3 layers of sound dampening foam, which is a first in the gaming keyboard market. The foam layers and the quality of the switches and keycaps is a big reason why this keyboard has quickly turned into my main. The Apex Pro Gen 3 also utilizes SteelSeries Quantum 2.0 wireless technology, which allows the 2.4 GHz mode and the Bluetooth 5.0 mode to transmit data even faster than before. The Bluetooth mode is also helpful for when you're on the go, allowing you to bring the keyboard almost anywhere while still giving you the full feature complete experience, as well as taking less battery as using the 2.4 GHz mode. But the 2.4 GHz mode gives you the ability to game with essentially the same latency as being wired. The battery on the Apex Pro is also pretty good, lasting about 2 days of heavy gaming, though that could definitely change depending on what wireless mode you're using, as well as the brightness of your RGB on your keyboard. But if you don't care about the lighting on this keyboard, turning it off and using it wireless will definitely give you a lot more battery. So do with that information what you will. The one thing that isn't that incredible is the charging speed. Nowhere does SteelSeries mention what watts this charges at, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's really low. To give you an example, from 0%, it takes this keyboard about 3 to 4 hours to fully get to 100%. Although you always have the ability to charge it while wired, while gaming. Now that we've finally gone over every single physical feature about this keyboard, we can now go over all the software features that the Apex Pro Gen 3 lineup has to offer. Starting with the switch's adjustable actuation. Traditional keyboard switches have a fixed actuation point that you can't change, usually starting about 2mm or half of a key press, while some of the best mechanical switches on the market can get to about a 1mm actuation point. And even then, you're locked at that super sensitive actuation, so doing anything other than gaming, like typing, isn't that great. However, SteelSeries has gone above and beyond, making the Apex Pro Gen 3 lineup have fully adjustable actuation points, going from about 4mm, which is a full key press, to an insanely quick 0.1mm actuation point, making it so in those super tense moments, you're not bottlenecked by the latency of your key press. In esports, every single millisecond can count, but even if you're a casual gamer like me, you can still get benefits from the unbelievably quick response times. You can use the Steelseries app to customize every single switch separately to your liking, but you can also use the OLED screen to change every single key unanimously by pressing and holding the media button for 3 seconds, then using the scroll wheel to find and click actuation, then sensitivity. You can then scroll up or down depending on what you want your actuation to be. The next feature is rapid trigger. Most keyboard switches have a fixed actuation point like we just mentioned, but they also have a fixed reset point. The OmniPoint switches in the Apex Pro Gen 3 can have as low as a 0.1mm actuation point, which means if you're fully holding the key down, you would almost 100% have to let go of it to re-input that input. However, with rapid trigger, that issue does not exist. With rapid trigger, the second you let go of any downward pressure on the keyboard will think that you let go of it. And vice versa, the second you put any downward pressure on the keyboard will register that that key has been clicked, making it so there's zero physical delay in your inputs. You can toggle this feature on and off by holding down the Steelseries button and clicking T, but you can also do it within the Steelseries app. The next Steelseries exclusive feature on this keyboard is Rapid Tap. Now in almost every single game out there, holding A and D or the opposite movement keys at the same time will bring your character to a complete stop. However, with Rapid Tap, you can pair 2 keys together. When doing this, the most recent input will override the other one, so you can never hold them both simultaneously. For example, let's say you paired A and D together. If you press and hold A to move to the left, and then press and hold D to move to the right, your character will almost instantly start moving to the right, even if you're still holding A. Although this feature can be incredibly helpful in a professional setting, you can also get value from it just by having it on and not really taking full advantage of it. By doing this, you can also prevent that small amount of momentum in games that you get sometimes when swapping directions. The hotkey for this is the SteelSeries logo plus Q to toggle on or off the feature. The next feature is protection mode. Setting a key to a super high actuation point results in a super fast and responsive feel, but it also increases the chance of fat fingering a key because the pressure it takes to actuate the key is so low. When it comes to important abilities and ults, it makes sense to put the actuation as a deep key press, but that also increases the time it takes to use them. But what if you could set those keys to a really high actuation point while not having to worry about accidentally activating them? Now, explaining this feature is kind of complicated, but I'll try my best. When protection mode is enabled on a key, let's say Q, the keyboard will actively monitor every key adjacent to that one. Whenever any of the adjacent keys are pressed, the protected key's actuation point will be briefly lowered to prevent you from accidentally clicking it. So if you accidentally brush up against Q while meaning to press W, protection mode will completely reject that unintended input. Protection mode also has logic built into it to detect when that press was actually intentional, to reduce the chances of protection mode blocking that key whenever you really need it. The next feature is dual actuation. This feature allows you to set multiple keybinds to a single key press by actuating each at a different actuation point. So let's say your keybind for running is Shift and your keybind for walking forward is obviously W. You can set your base actuation point to 1mm, which will keep your original bind and make you walk. But if you set your dual actuation for that key to 4mm or a full key press, then make the bind to Shift plus W. Once you fully press W down, your character will automatically start running forward without you having to press Shift. The binds I just talked about are probably the most common use of this feature, but you do have the ability to use dual actuation on any key you want, as well as binding 2 of any key on the entire keyboard together. So if you want to have a key pull out a grenade at one actuation point and throw it at the other, you also have the ability to do that. You can also set the dual actuation point to trigger any mouse button as well as any media button, which is kind of crazy and allows you to have a lot of options. Now the last feature for the Apex Pro Gen 3 lineup is SteelSeries GG Quickset. With all the available customization, you can imagine how annoying it would be to change anything and everything before going into each game. And while there are customizable configurations you can set in the SteelSeries GG app, you still need to manually change to them before going into a game. However, with the Quickset feature, you don't have to worry about that. With Quickset, you can link any of your customized configurations to almost any specific game you have. When doing this, the next time you open that game, the SteelSeries app will automatically change your preset for you, making it so you never even have to think about changing your keyboard settings before going into any game. One really cool thing about Quickset is the second you tab out of your game, it will almost instantly change back to your desktop settings and vice versa. When I first got the keyboard and actually started testing out these features, I was actually really surprised at how quick it detected when I was in game or when I wasn't in game. Quickset also has a few pre-made presets for some games. While there's not a ton, there's still a pretty good starting point for starting a personalized preset. When it comes to buying this keyboard, here's a few things you need to know. There are 3 versions of the Apex Pro Gen 3. There's a wireless 10 keyless one, which I've been showing and talking about in this video, but there's also a 10 keyless wired version and a full-size wired version. The wireless TKL version comes in at about $270, while the other ones come in at about $220 and $240 respectively. But no matter which version you buy, they all have the same features, excluding the wireless capabilities, obviously. You can also buy a replacement set of keycaps, a spare USB-C cable that comes in the box, or even new Prism keycaps from the Steelseries website. And that's everything you need to know about the Steelseries Apex Pro Gen 3 lineup. I hope you enjoyed this video, whether you're actually going to buy the keyboard or you're just watching for fun. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.